Get Out. Now this, of course, is going to be my spoiler-free review for the film. If you guys want to skip over this and go to the spoiler discussion that I'm going to have, there will be a link in the description once that video is officially uploaded. That probably won't be for a couple of hours because I actually plan on doing my spoiler video with my girlfriend like I did with my Resident Evil thing. So hopefully I'll be able to do that later tonight and actually have the spoiler video uploaded tonight for you guys. But if not, it'll definitely be out tomorrow. But as far as a spoiler-free video, of course, I'll keep it vague, with it being a horror movie and also kind of a mystery movie. Like, I think you kind of know based off the trailer how weird things kind of get. But there's some stuff in there, of course, that can be spoiled for you, so of course I'm going to keep all that secret. But just going into it, I think it was a good movie. It's getting like insanely great reviews. I don't know if it's still at like the 100% thing, but that was the big deal on Rotten Tomatoes. It's getting like 100% from just all these different reviewers saying how great it is, and it's a good movie. Personally, it didn't like blow me away. I feel like a lot of other people, honestly, I wasn't even that interested in seeing the movie. I only saw it because my girlfriend wanted to see it, if I'm being completely honest. I was like, yeah, it seems cool, but it just didn't say much to me. Like, even the race thing, I was like, yeah, that would probably interest me, and it certainly did. It was funny to me because I'm black, so I thought that was funny. Some of the stuff in there, just obviously for certain people, it'll have a certain effect. For anyone who's not black, it'll have a totally different effect. But for me, like, that was definitely the best part about it. But it was still a really good horror movie, because even if you took the race stuff out and you're able to swap it with just generic stuff, it was still really good because it was this creepy society stuff going on, and pretty much everything you see in the trailer is like, oh, things are kind of weird. And even if you took it out of being race-specific terms that certain characters use and just swapped it for generic stuff, it'd be like, okay, that was really weird that you'd say that, or that's just dumb that you would say that, like, why would you say that to me? But it was specifically for race stuff, so it made it funnier to me, and some stuff is like, yeah, and it's just funny. It's just a very interesting perspective, and of course, some people just won't like that, mostly dumb people. I mean, if it bothers you, then I just don't even know what to say. At this point, it's a movie. I don't know. People get mad about everything these days, but it's a good movie for sure. I do recommend seeing it. Like I said, for me personally, it just didn't like blow me away. I thought it was a good movie. Like, I've watched a couple of reviews and everyone's like, I want to see it twice. I'm like, for me personally, I'm just like, I don't. Like, I liked it the one time I saw it, and that's all I need to see because I don't care that much. But I still enjoyed it. I do definitely think it's worth seeing for sure. Just for the perspective of it being a psychological horror, and it's done well. And that's the thing about it. It's not just like a thriller horror. It's not like a Friday the 13th or anything like that, or the Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's insanely scary and horror and stuff like that. It is psychological, where you know it's weird, especially because of the trailer. You know that things are supposed to go wrong, so you're just waiting for when they go wrong and how they're going to go wrong and why they're going to go wrong. Like, why is this stuff actually happening to this character? And the way it plays out is really good. And it's hard to say. It's really like a big build-up, but it's a good build-up. It's not like a boring build-up where it's just like, like, alright, it's building up, and it's still building up, and it's still building up, and you're bored. It's without the boredom. Like, it's building up, but it's still entertaining because it's like, alright, every little piece or a little bit of dialogue kind of gets you, and it's just like, alright, they're saying stuff that's really weird, or they're saying something that is definitely racist, but they're acting like it's not racist, or they don't even realize it's racist, or something like that. And it keeps going and it keeps going. It's like, okay, at some point something's going to be out there, or something's going to be said, or something's going to be done where it's just going to snap, and that's going to be when the chaos breaks. And that definitely happen in the film, but you kind of keep waiting for, like, when is it going to happen? And even when it doesn't happen, it's still good stuff, because there are little things where it's like, this is something that you can figure out, or you can see this happening, or that's kind of revealed to you, or they're just little bits and pieces of the story that kind of go into it, and you might think it's just one thing, and then it becomes an even grander scale thing. So it's definitely good for sure. Like, I love the way it plays out, and of course, with this coming from someone who's known for comedy, that just makes me appreciate it even more, because when you see people do stuff like that where they're known for a specific genre in media, and then they go to something totally different, it's really well done. And there's still comedy in here, of course. There's definitely some comedy in it. It's actually a pretty funny movie. Specifically, there's one character that is just 100% the comedic value of the show, or of the film, but it works perfectly because you have all this tension, and then they break the tension in perfect ways, but it's still kind of serious because it's like, all right, well, as funny as it is, it's technically just realistic because it's just like, okay, this is happening. I think a certain way, or somebody else will think a different way, and it's just like, yeah, some people will just think a certain way, and that's what makes it funny because that's how you might react. But at the same time, it's still really serious because it's a serious situation. If you put yourself in those shoes, that's exactly what you might think, but you'd still be really serious about it because you'd be kind of freaking out like, what the F is going on here? So the comedy is definitely done well. I think all the acting is done well for sure. But I really enjoyed the movie. Like I said, for me, it's just not the type of movie where I think I need to see it twice. Like, I got what happened and I'm good with it. I'll probably watch it in the future for sure, but I don't think I'll go to the theater to see it a second time. But I still enjoyed it for sure. It's definitely a good movie, and with it being psychological horror, I think that's probably one of my favorite things about it because I love psychological horror because a lot of movies don't really do that well, like at all, where it's just like a psychological thing. Sometimes it's supposed to be psychological horror, but really you can tell it's just like a normal generic horror movie, and then it's like, here's the big twist, and that's why it's psychological horror at the end. It's like, that doesn't make it psychological horror just because you surprised me at the end, or failed to surprise me, in certain cases. But when you go through a movie and you're just trying to figure it all out, and it's gonna go wrong, like, even without the trailer, it's gonna go wrong because they do like just flat out show you certain things that happen. So something's going to go wrong, and that's where the psychological element comes in. Like, how wrong is it going to go? How fast is it going to go wrong? Who's going to make it go wrong? Because you got all these characters surrounding our main character, and it's just like, everything's weird. Like, it's going to go bad based off of the trailer, and even without that, if you went in knowing nothing, you could see, like, all right, literally the opening scene, that things are going to go wrong. And it's just like, all right, well, where the heck is it going to break? Like, what is going to be the one point where it becomes straight up chaos? And it definitely pays off, for sure. But if there is one thing, I do wish the chaos was a bigger part of the film. And that was like the one thing that kind of bugged me. I was like, okay, like, I loved everything about it. It just, after a certain point, or not even after a certain point, because like I mentioned, the build-up is really good. But once they get to the chaos, it's like, man, I would love to have seen a little bit more of that. I didn't think of that as I was watching it because it was just like the build-up was really, really good. And once it got to the chaotic point, it was just like, oh, I actually would have liked to have seen more of that. I didn't think of that until I got there. Like, oh man, I think if that lasted like just a little bit longer, like maybe an extra 10 minutes or something, I would have enjoyed that a little bit more. That would have been really cool to see. But like I said, it doesn't really take away from the movie or anything like that. But it's definitely fun. I would say definitely go out and see it. Definitely crazy. Obviously, like I said, if you're black, you'll have a totally different perspective on this than if you are not black. But that I enjoyed that element of it. There's definitely stuff in there that is certainly brought up for sure that black people would probably be more familiar with than any other race. But I liked it. I thought it was a good movie for sure. I can't really get into much else, I guess, without spoiling it, but I enjoyed the film, of course. Would love to know what you guys thought about it. If you want to do spoilers in this video and you don't want to wait for the spoiler video, just make sure you put a spoiler tag down in the description, or down in the comment section, sorry. But I do want to know what you guys thought about it, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it. If you want to be vague, like I said, be vague. If not, just make sure you put a spoiler tag. Want to know your least favorite parts about it as well. And in general, I would love to know how you guys feel about this movie as a psychological thriller. Because like I said, personally, there are a lot of horror movies out there. There are some that I love. There are some that I hate. Even some that are known as classics. Like Rosemary's Baby is like a classic horror film. And that, I would say, is more of a suspense movie. Maybe it's just because of the times. Times have changed and horror is much crazier than it used to be. I hated Rosemary's Baby when I watched it because I'm like, this is not a horror movie. This is a suspense film. There's nothing scary about that movie at all. It's just a suspense film. So, things change over time and psychological horror becomes something different, and then you just have regular horror, and then you have unique horror films. Like a good one I think is Lights Out, where it's like, that's just a horror film, but it was done in a unique way. And there's comedy in that movie as well. It's unintentional, or it's intentional comedy, but in the situation it's 100% serious, but it just ultimately ends up being funny in the best way possible. But like, that's a good example of just a it's just a horror film, but it's really well done. And then you have psychological horror films. I can't even think of an example if I'm being totally honest, but I feel like a lot of M. Night Shyamalan stuff is psychological horror, and that's a lot of where, well, you know, the twist comes from. And recently, he hasn't done a bad job with that. Split is definitely, I'd say, it's like, I mean, literally the main villain is like the embodiment of a psychological horror villain, but that's a good movie as well as far as psychological horror. And then a lot of other movies, it's just like, this is psychological horror, and it's just a horror movie with like a little bit of a twist at the end or some sort of mental element that's so minute it might as well not even exist. So I think this movie does a great job actually getting into the mentality of the viewers and stuff like that. Whether you're black or not, it's irrelevant. It's just the dialogue that's done through the characters and the way they act towards the main character and stuff like that. Really well done. So I would love to know how you guys feel about it as part of the psychological thriller slash horror genre. And like I said, I want to know generically what you thought about the film in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.